The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
But I got to tell you the story. Rebbe Waxman just said the story about his wife's grandfather. I just heard the story, blew my mind. Blew my mind. His wife's grandfather, Rebbe Ephraim Waxman Shlita, his wife's grandfather, during World War II, when the Nazis, I believe he said, when they entered into Vienna, I believe he said, so her grandfather escaped from Vienna with his wife and 3 kids. And they ended up in a city in France, Bayonne, France. They ended up in France. That's how they fled there somehow. And there were thousands and thousands of refugees from so many different countries trying to escape from the Nazis, trying to live, trying to survive. He said, the grandfather said that when they showed up there, he had no, everybody's wondering, how do you get out of this place? It's just impossible. He saw this guy on the side drinking. He went up to him and he saw that guy was a sailor. I don't know, maybe he was dressed like Donald Duck. He just looked like a sailor. And he goes up to the guy and he says to him, "Are you a sailor?" He said, "Yeah, I'm not only a sailor, I'm one of the captains of the ship." Now, the grandfather wanted desperately to get to England. England is very close to France. And he heard that England is fighting against the Nazis, and he wanted to be in a place that would protect them to the end. So he said to the guy, "Where's your ship going?" He said, "We're sailing tomorrow to England." He said, "Great." He's like, "Please, my wife." And he started crying to the guy. And the guy said, "You know what? Sure, you can bring as many people as you want on my ship. I got plenty of room, but you need a visa to get into England. And the only way to get the visa is you have to go to the English embassy, the embassy here in London. You have to go over there. Where is it?" He said, "A bunch of miles that way." He said, "But good luck, because everybody's trying to get a visa to go to England." He said, "Eibishter God," he said, "please help me." He went walking for miles and miles until asking people, "How do I get there?" He finally shows up there and he saw a mob. Hundreds and hundreds of people outside of the embassy. The embassy gates are closed with guards all around it, pushing people back, saying, we can't give out visas, we're sorry. And people are yelling, fighting in mobs. He said, "Hashem, how? I got to save my family." All of a sudden, he said, clouds out of everywhere just came in, and just a crazy downpour. Thunder, lightning, just nuts. People started running in all different directions. It was like mayhem. Even the guards were just giving up. The rain was just too strong. It was beating down on them. And so he started to get through the crowd and getting sloshed. And before you know it, he got up to the steps. And even by the steps, he got pushed around. He got pushed into the building. And everybody pushed him around. And finally, he ends up by a door. He knocks on the door and he goes in. And sure enough, the guy who gives out the visas is sitting right there. Nobody else in the room. He said, "Hashem, it's a miracle. It's a miracle." He comes up and he says to him, "Please," and he just starts crying, "My wife and my kids." He's crying, "Please, can you please just stamp my passport? If you stamp my passport, my wife and kids' passport, we'll live. You'll give us life and forever." And the guy said, the consulate. He said to him, "Okay, calm down. Yes, I'll give it to you to a lot of people, but I feel so bad. Yes, you convinced me." He said, "Hashem, thank you." He goes to pull out his passport. It's not there. Wives, I don't know how many wives, you know when you ask your husband when he leaves the house in the morning, do you have your wallet, do you have your keys? He forgot the passports with his wife miles and miles back over there. He looked up to heaven and he said, "This is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me." And with those words, his brain couldn't take it anymore, the reality of the situation. He fainted right on the spot. Fell right on the floor. The consulate is just looking at the guy. They got some water, they poured it on his face, he woke up, and when he came to, he just started crying again. He's like, he couldn't make out words. And the consulate said to him, "What's going on?" He's like, "It's my passport." He said, I had it, and I swear to you, I have a passport. And my kids are going to die. And he's rambling like a crazy person. And the consulate said to him, "Okay." He said, "Listen, just stop." He said, "I'm going to give you from my own papers over here. It has my name on top, my own stationery, that it has the English emblem on it. And I'm going to write on this, any name on this paper I hereby give a visa to enter into England. He said, you see, I stamped it and I signed it. Here, use this for the family. You guys are good. He took the paper and he said, thank you, thank you. Listen to this. He walked out of the consulate and he realized, I can put every Jewish name that I find on this paper. He went running through the streets. He found hundreds of Yidden, and every inch of that paper he covered with Jewish names. He showed up to the boat the next day with an entire congregation of Yidden, and he saved hundreds of people that they got to England. And this day, Rabbi Waxman said, we know their families, their children, their grandchildren, all saved. That moment that he said was the worst moment in his life was in that moment the best thing ever. Because he got to save not only his family, but so ever. We just can't see it.
Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org